Ladies and gentlemen, if I could go back, I wouldn't add more years to my life. I'd add more wisdom to my years because the truth is, I learned most of life's lessons the hard way. And my goal today is to give you the shortcut. I call them the 100 laws of life, not theories, not wishful thinking, just battle-tested truths so you don't screw your life up like I did. You ever notice how it's never the one big decision that wrecks your life? It's the little ones, the ones you don't even think twice about. Nobody wakes up and says, you know what, today's the day I'm going to ruin my finances, blow up my health, or burn down this relationship. No, it's always drip by drip, step by step, choice by choice. When I look back at the moments I wish I could take back, they weren't huge catastrophes that I had knowingly walked into. They were small decisions that seemed harmless at the time, saying I'll do it tomorrow, just once. Texting back someone I knew wasn't good for me. Spending money I didn't have because it was just a little thing. And here's the kicker. Those small choices compound faster than you think. It's kind of like interest on a credit card. You buy something for 100, but if you don't pay it off, you're not just paying 100. You're paying 120, then 140, then 200. The longer you carry it, the heavier it gets. Choices work the same way. A late night once in a while doesn't destroy you, but a late night every night now you're dragging into work. Your performance dips, your stress rises, and suddenly you're behind on everything. It wasn't one bad choice. It was a dozen small ones, stacked on top of each other. Here's the truth I had to learn. Every choice you make is either a deposit or a withdrawal, with your health, with your reputation, with your future. When you hit the gym instead of scrolling, that's a deposit. When you speak honestly instead of dodging the truth, that's a deposit. When you choose to drive home instead of one more drink, that's a deposit. But when you skip the hard thing because it's uncomfortable, you're making a withdrawal. The account doesn't overdraft in one day, but it will if you keep swiping. And I'll tell you something most people don't like to hear. You rarely see the consequences in the moment. That's why it's so easy to justify. You think, I'll deal with it later, but later always comes. For me, it came in the form of broken trust, strained relationships, and opportunities I couldn't get back. You don't always get a warning light on the dashboard before the engine blows. Sometimes it just dies on you in the middle of the road. So what do? You shrink the decision down. Don't think of it as one small choice. That doesn't matter. Think of it as a vote. Every time you choose something, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Skip the workout. That's a vote. Do the workout. That's a vote. Speak up when it's uncomfortable. That's a vote. Stay silent when you should have said something. That's a vote. Your life is just the total of the votes you've been casting. And let me tell you, momentum is real. The first few deposits feel small. Just like saving $10 doesn't make you rich. But keep making deposits. Keep casting the right votes. And you'll look up in 6 months and realize your account is loaded. Your direction is different. And you don't even recognize the old version of yourself. The opposite is true too. Keep making withdrawals. Keep voting for the weaker version of yourself. And one day you'll look up and wonder how you got so deep in a hole. And the answer won't be that one massive life-changing decision. It'll be the 100 little ones that seemed harmless at the time. The danger of small choices is that they don't ask for your attention. But the power of small choices is that they don't need permission to change your life. Start stacking the right ones. They compound just as fast as the wrong ones. So if you remember nothing else from me today, remember this. You don't screw up your life all at once. You do it one choice at a time, and you save it the exact same way. When I was younger, I used to think I could hang around anyone and not be influenced. I told myself I'm my own person. I know who I am. Nobody's going to change. And I believe that until I looked back one day and realized I had slowly started talking like the people around me, thinking like them, and most dangerously accepting the same limits they accepted. You don't notice it at first, because it's subtle, but here's the truth. Your circle is your ceiling. The people closest to you set the thermostat for your life. If they're comfortable staying average, you'll feel silly for wanting more. If they cut corners, you'll start to think shortcuts are normal. And if they play small, you'll shrink yourself just to fit in. I've lived, and it cost me years. Think about it this way. If you're in a group of friends who complain all the time, how long before you start chiming in with your own complaint? If you're surrounded by people who joke about cheating at work or in their relationships, how long before that starts to sound like no big deal? It doesn't take long, because we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our circle. And listen, I'm not saying you cut off everyone who isn't a high performer, or that you suddenly ghost your old friends, but you do have to ask yourself a simple question. Who do I want to become? Then look around and ask, are the people closest to me helping me get there, or are they holding me back? If the answer is the second one, you're standing under a low ceiling. I learned this the painful way. There was a season in my life where I was surrounded by people who loved to stay comfortable. They weren't bad people, they were just satisfied with mediocrity. And because I didn't want to stick out, I adjusted my ambition to match theirs. They'd say, why work harder when you're doing fine? And I started to believe it. They'd shrug off accountability, and I did the same. I look back now and realize I wasn't living my life, I was living theirs. But here's the beautiful part. When you get around people who are going somewhere, it changes you without you even trying. You start to think bigger. You start to raise your standards. You start to believe more is possible, because you can see it in the people around you. Just like being in a gym makes you want to move, being in the right circle makes you want to grow. I remember the first time I intentionally put myself in a room where I was the least experienced, the least successful person there. It was uncomfortable. I felt out of place, like I didn't belong. But here's what happened. I left that room sharper. I left with bigger questions. I left realizing that my big goals were just normal for them. And in that moment, my ceiling lifted. That's what the right circle does. They don't let you settle for average. They challenge you. They call you out. They push you when you want to quit. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Growth always. But if your friends aren't stretching you, they're shrinking you. And you have to decide which one you want. So don't fool yourself into thinking you're unaffected by the people around you. Nobody is. Your circle is either raising your ceiling or lowering it. And if you want to change your life, one of the most powerful choices you can make isn't what you do, it's who you do it with. Because in the end, your circle becomes your ceiling. Choose wisely. Motivation is a funny thing. It feels good. It gets you moving. But it's slippery. It's like that burst of energy you get after a strong cup of coffee. You feel unstoppable in the moment, but it doesn't last. That's the problem with building your life around motivation. It's a spark, not a fire. And when the spark dies out, what's left? Discipline. That's what keeps you going. When motivation is nowhere to be found. I used to chase motivation like it was the answer. I'd wait for the perfect podcast, the perfect book, the perfect moment to get inspired. Sure, I'd feel fired up for a little while, but then Monday morning would roll around and I'd hit snooze. Or I'd have a rough day at work, and suddenly all those inspiring words didn't mean a thing. That's when it hit me. Motivation isn't reliable. It's a guest, not a roommate. If you're depending on it to build your future, you're building on sand. Discipline, though, that's the foundation. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're in the mood. It doesn't care if it's raining, or if your boss was rude, or if Netflix just dropped a new season of your favorite show. Discipline shows up whether you feel like it or not, and that's why it outlasts motivation every time. Let me give you an example. Think about brushing your teeth. Nobody wakes up motivated to brush their teeth. Nobody's posting inspirational quotes about flossing, but you do it every day because it's a habit. And because of that small discipline, your teeth don't fall out. That's how discipline works. It's not flashy, it's not exciting, but it's the quiet insurance policy that protects your future. Now here's the catch. Discipline feels heavy at first. That first run, after months of doing nothing. Miserable. That first time you sit down to save money, instead of spending it. Painful. That first honest conversation, when you'd rather avoid it. Awkward. Discipline always feels harder in the moment, but it pays dividends you can't see yet. Motivation feels easier in the moment, but it makes promises it never keeps. I remember a time in my life when I was waiting for motivation to fix me. I'd say, once I feel ready, once I feel inspired, then I'll make the change. But the truth is, waiting for motivation was just procrastination in disguise. The change didn't come when I felt like it. The change came when I stopped negotiating with myself and said, do it anyway, do it tired, do it scared, do it unmotivated. That's discipline. And here's the part most people miss. Discipline creates motivation, not the other way around. When you show up consistently, even on the days you don't feel like it, you build momentum, and momentum makes you feel good. And when you feel good, motivation shows back up. But you can't sit around waiting for motivation to knock on your door. You've got to let discipline carry you until it arrives. The truth is, discipline is freedom in disguise. It might feel like restriction, but really it's the opposite. The discipline to save money gives you the freedom to say yes to opportunities later. The discipline to take care of your health gives you the freedom to live without constant pain. The discipline to tell the truth gives you the freedom to live without the weight of lies. Discipline may feel like chains in the moment, but it unlocks every door that matters. So don't put your faith in motivation. It will fail you. Instead, train yourself to do the right thing, even when you don't feel like it. That's where the real transformation happens. Because in the end, discipline will take you places motivation never could. Integrity is one of those words we throw around a lot, but most people don't really stop to think about what it actually means in practice. For me, integrity used to sound like some noble, far-off ideal, something you read in a book, or hang on a wall in an office. But life has a way of showing you that integrity isn't abstract. It's practical. It's the way you show up in the smallest, quietest moments, when nobody's watching. It's the decision to do the right thing, even when it costs you, even when it's inconvenient, and especially when you could get away with not doing it. I learned this the hard way. There was a time when I cut corners, because I thought nobody would know. I told little half-truths, because they were easier than the full truth. I justified small compromises, because they seemed harmless, and for a while it looked like I was getting away with it. No big fallout, no lightning strike. But here's the thing about integrity. It doesn't punish you all at once. It erodes you slowly, piece by piece, until one day you realize your reputation is shaky, your relationships are fragile, and your peace of mind is gone. What I didn't understand back then was that integrity is an investment. Every time you do the right thing, even when it's hard, you're putting deposits into an account you'll desperately need later. And every time you cut corners, you're making withdrawals that add up faster than you think. The problem is, most people only realize this once the account runs dry. Here's what integrity really buys you: trust. And trust is the currency of life. You can be talented, you can be smart, you can have all the opportunities in the world, but if people can't trust you, none of it lasts. And trust isn't built by big speeches or grand gestures. It's built by 1,000 small, consistent actions over time. Show up when you said you would, follow through when you promised. Tell the truth even when it makes you look bad. Those moments stack up, and before you know it, people know they can rely on you. And once you have trust, doors open that you couldn't have forced open any other way. But it's not just about other people. Integrity gives you something even more valuable: peace of mind. There is nothing heavier than carrying around secrets, lies, or shame from the choices you made in the dark. You can put on a good face for the world, but you can't outrun yourself. I've been there, lying awake at night, replaying conversations, worried about what would happen if the truth came out. That weight will eat you alive. Integrity removes that. When you live aligned with your values, when your words match your actions, you can put your head on the pillow at night and actually rest. And I don't care how much money you make or how successful you look. If you can't sleep in peace, you're broke where it matters most. Now, some people think integrity is just about never messing up. That's not true. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to fall short. Integrity isn't about perfection. It's about honesty. It's about owning it when you do mess up, making it right, and committing to better. People will forgive mistakes. What they won't forgive is dishonesty. There's also this lie floating around that integrity doesn't pay off because nice guys finish last, or doing the right thing is for suckers. That's short-term thinking. Sure, cutting corners might get you ahead for a moment. Lying might get you out of a tough spot. Cheating might give you a quick win. But integrity is a long game. It pays dividends you can't always see right away. The promotion you get years later, because your boss knows you can be trusted. The friendship that deepens, because you told the hard truth, instead of the easy lie. The opportunities that come your way because your name carries weight. Those are the quiet rewards of integrity. The bottom line is this:
Integrity is not about convenience. It's about character. It's about choosing who you are going to be regardless of who's in the room, or what the cost might be. And if you want a life that lasts, if you want relationships that matter, if you want peace that money can't buy, then integrity is not optional. It's everything. Because at the end of the day, integrity is the one thing nobody can take from you, but you can give it away in a second. When you step back and look at it, life really isn't about giant leaps. It's about the little things stacked over time. The choices you make every day, the people you allow into your circle, the discipline you practice when nobody's cheering, and the integrity you hold on to when it would be easier to let go. Those 4 things will either build your life up, or tear it down. And the truth is, you don't need 100 lifetimes to learn them. You just need the humility to act on them now. So here's my challenge to you. Don't wait until regret teaches you what wisdom is trying to hand you today. Make the right choices, guard your circle, choose discipline over feeling, protect your integrity. Do those things and you won't just avoid screwing your life up like I did. You'll actually build a life you're proud to live. Because in the end, the life you want isn't out there waiting. It's built one decision at